I remember in 1991 walking into a Christian bookstore with my parents and seeing a display for a new Bible-based NES game, King of Kings: The Early Years, put out by a company called Wisdom Tree. The games were playable on the NES, and I knew we had to have this game to go along with our Super Mario Bros. 3 and Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers NES collection. I'm not sure if we bought the game then and there, or received it later for Christmas or a birthday, but we did have this game growing up, and I remember coming back to play it often. The game consists of 3 games in one. All 3 are based around the early life of Jesus, the first being The Wise Men, where you control a camel with the 3 wise men headed to find the baby Jesus, the second being The Flight to Egypt, where you control a donkey carrying Mary, Joseph, and baby Jesus on their way to escape King Herod, and the third being Jesus and the Temple, where you control Mary and Joseph as they search for the missing Jesus. As a kid, We Three Kings was one of my favorite Christmas songs, mainly because of Will Vinton's claymation Christmas TV special featuring the 3 wise men and camels singing an upbeat rendition. So perhaps it's that nostalgia, combined with the nostalgia of playing this game as a kid, that created the space I'm in today, the Play It Again pastor playing a Bible Nintendo game. Now, to be fair, Nintendo never actually authorized this game. Wisdom Tree was one of the first companies to circumvent Nintendo's lockout chip technology in each console, which would not allow unlicensed games to be played on the NES. However, Wisdom Tree used a mechanism that went around this tech, allowing them to create games that could be played on the NES. In The Wise Men, you eventually play as all 3 of the wise men, following a star in search of baby Jesus. As they travel through fields, fountains, moors, and mountains, they collect frankincense, gold, and myrrh, as well as scrolls that add to your health if you answer a Bible question correctly. Each question is either a true or false answer, or a choice out of 3 possibilities. A Bible reference is included in each question, so a player could look up the answers in the Bible if they wanted to. This was one of the major selling features to the Christian market for Wisdom Tree. As they advertised, they told Christian bookstores that kids could play a fun game about Jesus while also learning Bible facts. The company ended up actually selling hundreds of thousands of copies of their games. The camel you ride in The Wise Men can jump fairly high, run if you hold down B, spit if you press B, and even pick up fruit that can be spit out at enemies such as foxes, birds, cacti, and scorpions. Each fruit has a different ability, the best of which is the banana, which acts as a boomerang and can be caught over and over throughout the level. Sadly, you can't take fruit from level to level, but most levels do contain a piece of fruit somewhere hidden in them to find. There are also bonus exits and more levels depending on the level of difficulty you choose at the beginning. If you choose easy, you'll play through just a handful of levels, but the harder the difficulty, the more stages you will uncover to play. Some of the platforming is extremely challenging, with dodging bouncing rocks and squeaky mice near impossible at some points. The graphics are actually not too bad here, and you can see some actual parallax scrolling with some of the background images, which is fairly impressive for a 1991 NES game made by a company that was small and working with limited resources. I will admit, out of the 3 games on this cartridge, I definitely have a soft spot for The Wise Men. Is it a good game? Not really. It has a lot of technical quirks and flaws, but it is the most fun of the 3 games on this cartridge, and it has the least amount of glitches, unlike the Jesus and the Temple game, which has many glitches and soft locks. As far as Christmas goes, it's definitely a Christmassy game. 3 Kings Day is a feast celebrating the wise men coming to see Jesus and is celebrated on January 6th each year, part of the Christmas season for many people around the world. So now the real question is this game one that you should play? Well, if you're not into all things Christmas, then it's probably skippable. And if you're not into religion or religious sorts of games, then it's probably also skippable. I will say, I don't think any of this game comes across heavy-handed or Bible thumping, quote unquote, so there's that. If you have an interest in video gaming history, The Wise Men is worth a playthrough at least once in your lifetime, if nothing else than for the sheer achievement of working around the NES lockout chip. Well, that wraps up this series of 25 days of retro Christmas video game levels. And now comes the big moment. What do I consider the most Christmassy retro video game level or game that is the most worth playing each year? If you're counting Christmassiness, then Days Before Christmas for Sega Genesis has to take that top spot. But if you're counting replayability and fun factor, then Freezeezy Peak and Banjo-Kazooie for the Nintendo 64 is the level I would say to pull out each year to play, as it was the most fun along with being so extremely Christmassy. I'm the Play It Again Pastor, and I hope you've enjoyed this series. Stay tuned to the channel for more content coming soon, along with more top 10 videos and reviews of retro games that I just really want to play again.